I mean, these guys, they're struggling, brother. They're struggling. And for a giant of the African game, it's obviously devastating, not just for Nigeria, but for the continent. And obviously, we know what their team sheet looks like. Easily one of the strongest teams on the continent. But they've struggled for some time now.
Welcome back to Morning Footy. It's your boy Jaleel Anibaba, and we are looking at yesterday's notable World Cup qualifying results out of Africa. And for me, I'm going straight to Sierra Leone, getting the 3-1 victory. Bust up the shots. Shout out to the homie, Kai Kamara, for still doing his thing. I also like how Cape Verde is doing theirs as well, getting the result. But what is very important, the most important thing about this segment, is we are welcoming in one of the best guests, one of my favorite guests, Lahoud, because the vibes are always on point. The info is even better. None other than Mbizo. What's going on, my brother? How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, brother. Thank you so much for that rousing introduction. I really appreciate it, man. Glad to be back.
There's no other way to welcome you. Vibes begets good vibes. So what I have to talk to you about first is my beloved Nigeria. Naija, please tell us, Oga, waiting to happen. What is going on with my people? What is going on with the Nigerian national team?
They won't stay in our white. You know, I mean, these guys, they're struggling, brother. They're struggling. And for a giant of the African game, it's obviously devastating, not just for Nigeria, but for the continent. And obviously, we know what their team sheet looks like. Easily one of the strongest teams on the continent. But they've struggled for some time now. I mean, no wins from 4. They're 5th out of 6 teams in their qualifying group, which is really a disaster. Moreover, considering they're behind minnows like Lesotho, Rwanda, and Benin, their noisy neighbors. And so it's been a very, very difficult for them. And of course, they've just hired a new coach in Éric Chelle. So things are still up in the air. We don't know how things are going to go from here on forth, but they need to get better.
And Mbizo, in my country, in our language, we say, Kushe, Hadibodi. Good to see you as always, brother. Now, Nigeria, they're spoiled for riches, man. We talk about Victor Osimhen, Victor Boniface, all the Victors, the aunties, the uncles, all ballers in the attack. But on the pitch, it hasn't translated what's been on paper. I mean, what's been going on in the striker department, Beast? Talk to me about that.
Well, I think for some time, especially with the previous tenures of the coaches, they've been extremely pragmatic. They haven't played expansive football, and I don't think they've worked towards getting the best out of their attacking players. Of course, Lookman has had to carry them with some spectacular performances, and he's just done that with pure magic. Not only, of course, at home, but also abroad in Italy as well, and in European League in general. So they need to find a way, I think, to get the best out of their attacking players, to get the best out of their strikers, and they are spoiled for riches. I think one of the positions in which they have struggled is perhaps center mid and center attacking mid, which of course links the team, which is the heartbeat of the team, and perhaps that's been one of the reasons why they haven't been able to play such an expansive football. But nonetheless, I think the key is to build your tactics around these players, and by the sounds of it, Éric Chelle wants to play. He tried to get Mali to play. I thought he was underwhelming, very frankly, with Mali, but he tried to get them to play, and hopefully he'll do the same for Nigeria and build the team around these spectacular talents.
Okay, we're going to go into our Geico Get More for the Super Eagles. And for new manager Éric Chelle, how can he and his side get more out of these incredible international players? I mean, look at these names. We got players in the Prem and all across Europe balling.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, domestic football is not international football. And certainly European football is by no means African football. I mean, you deal with a lot different atmosphere. You deal with different tactics, different types of players, a different type of pace. And so very much a completely different context. But again, like I said, it revolves around building the team on how can I get the best out of my best players, who for me right now is Lookman, and of course Victor Osimhen, who's in spectacular form, and then Victor Boniface, which is one of my favorite players in the world today. So how does he make sure that these players not only play well as individuals, but how do they connect? He doesn't have time to experiment, which would have been best, of course. And so, you know what? If I had the answer, perhaps I'd be the coach of the Super Eagles. But I just hope they get it together for sure.
Yes, and as we transition away from our beloved Nigeria, we'll go on to Egypt. Everyone knows and understands how much they have attacking prowess in Salah, Marmoush. What do we expect out of them, and what's the prospect and vibes coming out of Egypt?
Well, it's important to note, I mean, there's been a lot of talk, of course, about, the current rise of Marmoush. And obviously, Mohamed Salah has been playing at a spectacular level for some decade now. But Marmoush is not new. He might be new to, Premier League fans. He might be new to global football fans, but he's not new to the African football fan. He debuted 4 years ago for Egypt. He's played in 2 AFCONs. He has 11 AFCON matches under his belt, in which he's only managed to net 1 goal. He's a superb player. I really enjoy watching him play. I'm a big fan, but his contributions have yet to propel Egypt to where they want to be, even on the continent. Salah the same, of course, wonderful player, Ballon d'Or candidate this year as well, but they haven't been able to propel Egypt back to their position in African football. And this also, it's important to mention that Egypt, their golden age was not marked by European superstars. It was in fact marked by domestic talents, most of whom plied their trade in Egypt at Al Ahly. So it's not necessarily a given that with these players coming out and rising in this fashion in European football, that they'll do the same on the African continent. And of course, they missed out on the last World Cup. And before their 2018 appearance, they went over 24 years or 20 years not making it to the World Cup. So we obviously hope for the best, but I think their performances in AFCON are going to determine how they are perceived and how they do moving forward.
And Mbizo, I have to thank you. It's good to see you. As we will say in Yoruba, thank you so much for joining us.